coś mi tam śmiga, jakiś rak.
Okay, so...
Raz przyjrzałem te pytania, żeby nie było.
Spoko. Okay, I'm Marcin here from Donabate, beautiful beach in County Dublin. I'm joking, I'm from my home office, bedroom. And with me is Krzysztof Barabosz from Hard Beans Coffee Roasters from Poland, from Opole. Hi, Chris.
Hello, how are you?
Good. While we're talking, your coffees or coffees which you roasted in Hard Beans are on the way to Dublin. So I can't wait to have it on the shelves and share with our customers. So this is the opportunity when we can talk a little bit about the Hard Beans and yourself and what you're doing over there. So let me tell you quickly tell me please, what's the Hard Beans and what's it all about?
Hard Beans Coffee Roasters is another step we took back in the days. So the first step was the Coffeina Art Cafe. So it was like one of the first specialty coffee shops in Poland. It started in 2009. After that, there was a second coffee shop, which was a little bit more developed because it was with a cocktail bar and beers and craft beers and also nice wines. Back in the days, you were also helping us and our staff to learn about wine and understand wines. It was like, I don't know, 6-7 years ago.
I think it was 2012.
Yeah, something like that. I still remember. And the roastery was like another step. So Artur and Kasia, who are the owners of Coffeinas, were always thinking about development and new steps and new ways to improve the business. And I was the cafe manager there and lead barista. So the roastery was still back in our heads all the time. And fortunate, we gained some investors back in end of 2016. And from beginning of 2017, we started to search for a facility, for equipment, and everything what's involved with a roastery. And we found a nice place in the city center of Opole. It's an industrial part of railway station. And here we have like 560 square meters facility where we installed our roastery. And our first batches were released November 2017. So it's like 4th year of a roastery, which is still expanding, developing, and finding new paths for the future.
It's like a brand new project, quite a kind of young project. And I think Natalia or Artur told me that I was the first who got your coffees abroad, I think, in 2018, in January.
Yeah, very, very possible that's the truth.
Good. Tell me something about yourself. Like you said, you were coffee manager and a leader barista, but now you are head roasters, right?
Yeah, like I took the whole steps of barista career or coffee person career. So before Coffeina, I was working in a chain coffee store. So I was like a barista 2 years before Coffeina started. So it was like from 2007. Then I started to work at Coffeina back in 2010. And after 2 years, so when Coffeina 2.0 opened, I took the lead on the first coffee shop as a cafe manager and head barista. And in the meantime, we were doing many different stuff. So for example, we are like one of the organizers of Pro Infusia Polish Barista Week. We were doing like different events, competitions, even crazy ones like TNT latte art throwdown transmitted via live stream, Poland versus Sweden. Like Polish baristas were competing at Coffeina and the Swedish baristas were competing at drop coffee roasters, and Polish judges were scoring Swedish barista, and Swedish judges were scoring Polish barista. So that was back in 2013, and
Comandante Cup?
yeah, Comandante Cups, and also the whole journey with SEA. So from 2015 to 2020, so back in September, I was the events coordinator at SEA Poland. So I was responsible for organizing all championships like Barista, Latte Art, Brewers Cup, and so on and so on. So yeah, back in the days I did many events and many competitions, both for professional baristas like the SEA level ones, or for like home baristas and youngsters. That's the Pro Infusia Polish Barista League. And yeah, and that's it. And now since 2017, I started by scratching the roastery on a piece of paper, how the plant should look like, what machine we should have, what kind of machine we should have, where we need to take the coffee from. And it's like still developing. We have a few really nice grants and projects for research. For example, in December, we finished the green coffee storage project, which took 2.5 years. And we now know what's the best storage condition for green coffee at the warehouse.
That's what I'm going to ask you a little bit later on.
Yeah, so it will be later on. And beside that, yeah, that's it. So now
you're happy that
I'm finding my path, like among this research pathway and development pathway, and also green coffee sourcing and roasting coffee. But roasting, like I roast coffee, but not so much as back in the days. Like now Piotr is our production roaster, and he's like leading the whole production, and I'm supporting him with my knowledge, with our
which
approach.
is huge. So
he's huge, yeah.
So the one thing which is very well known in specialty coffee is transparency. So the specialty coffee always will tell to customers where the green coffee comes from, how they roast, how they transport, and so on and so on. But I think your company or Hard Beans take it much more serious about transparency.
We try to be more transparent than like regular roasteries. I hope it will develop from year to year, and as much as it will be possible, we will be more transparent. It's because like we were transparent since the beginning, also in coffee shops, and during these years behind the bar, we were like not hiding the secrets, so we don't have any secrets. So we want to share the knowledge, we want to share what kind of coffee where it's from, who's the producer, and so on and so on. And that was at the coffee shop. And nowadays, yeah, coffee time, I just roasted. So now my goal is to work together with producers, and if it's possible to also do something with them. Like the Co-Changers project was also made with producers back in Guatemala, to have not only a transparent coffee, knowledge that the producer was paid well, but also to have an impact at the origin. And I hope that such project like Co-Changers and others will develop from year to year, and that will be our strength.
Okay, so we skipped the one question, and let's go to this Co-Changers project. What was all about? Can you say something more about it? Because we had the coffee which was labeled Co-Changers, and we saw some pictures of recycled beans on the side of the production in Guatemala. So what's the story?
So like the whole Co-Changers project, which is made together with 88 Grains, it's like quite new company which is importing green coffee, mostly from Guatemala, and now also from Honduras and Brazil. That's what started back in 2019 when we were visiting Guatemala, and we saw a lot of waste, and we were everywhere. So it's like on the streets, on like in nice landscapes, like you have this kind of rural tropical landscape which is filled with plastic and filled with lots of waste. There is no such a thing like a
you freeze
the waste or the trash, or they just like dump it into a river and it's flow down with the river. And being back at farms in Acatenango region at Finca La Soledad, where it's like Yola Czermińska from 88 Grains is based, like we thought, like, let's not only import a nice coffees from really good producers, but also let's have an impact. And that's how the Co-Changers project started in 2019, where we made a filter blend out of 3 coffees from 3 producers, from Finca El Llano, Finca Buenos Aires, and Finca El Oregano. So from Raúl Perez and Hector and Diana Ovale. And we thought that let's sell it on the market, or put this coffee on the market with the Co-Changers label. The girls from 88 Grains, so Yola and Agata made the label, the logo, and we thought let's place it on the market and grab some money from earnings we got from the coffee and take back to Guatemala. And that was in 2019 and 20. We released 7,500 boxes of coffee and around 15,000 zlotys, which is like $4,000. We transferred back to Guatemala, where Yola and Diana and Hector could buy trash bins, which were implemented in schools and on the farms, and 2 schools in Socorro and El Oregano on the farms also. But also they started a collaboration with a company, which name is Biorem Solution, which is taking the garbage and recycling it. So what can be recycled is recycled, and the rest is burnt and turned into energy. And also we started the collaboration with like pro eco organization. It's in Spanish name and I forgot the name, but it was like ecological organization, like, which is giving the knowledge to the students about recycling, about waste management, about the impact on waste on the land, but also on the community. And I was last year, like this period of time, so end of January, beginning of February, I was in Guatemala, and we did like this project. So we did lessons at schools, like lectures at schools for over 480 children in 2 different schools, lectures about recycling, about waste management. Also, we implemented the trash bins. And for this year Co-Changers project, because like that's the 2nd year when the Co-Changers is taking place, together with also Coffee Desk, the goal is not only to continue the waste management, so to continue with the trash bins and recycling, but we want also to implement like big water tanks, because one school in Huehuetenango and El Socorro and El Oregano region has no running water. So they just have like this kind of tanks with water, and children are like using this water to wash hands, but also to drink and cook. And our goal is like with the money we'll get from co-changers, now it will be the money collected by Coffee Desk, because Coffee Desk is like responsible for the sales of co-changers coffee as an exclusive retailer. Like with this money, the goal is to buy 2 1,000-liter tanks and purifiers, so filters which will clean the water that it will be drinkable.
Yeah. So
that's the goal for 2021. Of course, co-changes project supposed to be bigger and had a bigger impact, but COVID changed everything. So like we see that the coffee shops are not running on full power, and same people are not just buying a lot of coffee. So there is also like big issues on the producers side. So hopefully 2022 will be even faster in terms of growing of such projects. Like not only you take a coffee from a producer and you highlight this producer on the package, like it's co-changers from Finca de Oregano and Hector and Diana Ovale, but also you and a small promillage, because that's not a huge impact. We are talking about like promillage impact, but still it's a positive impact that you influence the environment at the region.
So let's say the coffeedesk.com, where you can find the co-changers coffees and many other coffee items. But when we are talking about the numbers, let's go back to 2020, the famous COVID impacted year, and what you highlighted on the LinkedIn profile, the 56,000 kilograms of green coffee has been roasted by you. Are you happy with these numbers?
Yeah, because it's more than in 2019. That's the most important, and even more than in 2018. I must admit that our goal was higher, so we thought we'll pass 60 tons, but yeah, the COVID made a big mess on the market. So still the results are really good and we are very happy with the results, but yeah, our capacities are a little bit bigger, so we don't want to grow a lot in terms of roastery. So we have our top level, so top production capacity, which we want to reach out probably within 2 or 3 next years, and let's say that will be our top. So we don't want to exceed more.
All right, so stay exclusively on the good quality coffee.
Yeah, then we'll like focus more on like our customers and quality in terms of coffee, but we don't want to grow and grow and grow, I don't know, and become a big factory which is producing 200 tons per month.
Yeah.
While our core is also in development and research and projects, and finding new solutions and new devices. So roastery is a good fundament to support our crazy development and research actions, but we don't want just focus on that. So we want to focus on roasting, but also on the research.
Yeah, so talking about research and development, the R&D going strong. Last year, I think, or it was 2 years ago, you launched the hard tank, which is express cold brew device.
Rapid, yeah. Rapid. We call it rapid.
Well, to me, it was quite express, very quick or rapid, as you say, method to do a big amount of cold brew. Can you say a little bit more about it? Because it's kind of interesting idea for summertime, I suppose.
Yeah, back in the days we were thinking what we can improve in coffee, and cold brew was one of these newly trendy beverage you serve in the coffee shops, and many coffee shops started to serve like this. Even we at Coffeina, so we started to serve cold brews back in 2011-12, and nitro cold brew, it was 2014-2015 when we started to serve our coffees straight from the tap, and we were implementing like this kind of beer tapping system into coffee with clear nitrogen infusion, and that was it. But we were producing the cold brew in a traditional way. So we had the tanks, we put the coffee, water, mix it, stir it, and leave it for 24 hours. After that, filter it and put it into keg and serve it from the
Time
tap.
consuming.
Yeah, that's time consuming. It's super messy. You lose one time in terms of shelf life, one day in terms of shelf life, and also it's not so super
Efficient.
healthy in terms of sanitary. So we were thinking about finding a solution how to, first of all, make it faster, secondly, make it easier, and thirdly, make it less contaminated. So like in terms of production, more safe. And we wrote a project on the ground to the National Research and Development Center in Warsaw, based in Warsaw, and we got the grant for that. Our goal was to make a device which is preparing a cold brew within 6 hours in a fully closed environment. And we started this project together with the University of Technology in Opole. We made like 60 or even 70 prototypes with different sort of solutions, how to make it happen. And after a few months of research, we found the technology we are using now with hard tanks, and it made us possible to prepare a cold brew below 1 hour. So now the whole process to take place like 40 minutes, maybe 45 minutes.
And what's the capacity of the tank?
Whole keg, so 19 liters, like a Pepsi keg. So you get like 19 liters of freshly made cold brew ready to be served from the tap below 1 hour. After that, you take off the basket with coffee, clean it, and you just push a wash cycle on the machine, and the machine is cleaning itself. So it's like closed environment, very automatized, and we are working on new devices. So so the hard tank is improved now. It's a really good device, but we are now working on other hard tanks. And one of those hard tank will be introduced like in 3 weeks in Dubai during the Gulf Food. So now our schedule is like, yeah, it's like almost ready. I have it like on the wall here, on the second wall on the pictures. So
you can't show us, no?
I can show you like from this distance. But there in the end, you see something on the wall. That's the new prototype, which is on the production line. So guys are working on it, and I think that it will make a rush on the market. But for now, it's secret. It will be released in Dubai, and but in Dubai we will release it just as a prototype. It will be functional, but it will be a prototype. But our goal is to make it like a production model until the World of Coffee Athens. Hopefully, it won't be postponed.
Yeah, fingers crossed for all the events.
So, hard tank is like a rapid or fast cold brew maker for a coffee shop, for a restaurant, for a brewery, because for tea, even tea shop. So we started to work with a tea company from Singapore, and they are also tea producers. They have some plantations in Taiwan. They have the knowledge how to process properly tea and how to cut it and how to make it in a proper way in a hard tank. So with using hard tank, you can prepare not only like cold brew coffee, but you can also prepare cold brew tea. You can prepare cold brew cascara, and you can also prepare alcohol beverages.
Yeah, so you were using Tullamore whiskey for some.
Yeah, many experiments. Like So instead of water, you use alcohol in a hard tank. So we tried 5 or 6 different vodkas, from potato to grain, from like 7-time distilled to 3-time distilled, and so on. We also used the Tullamore, so Irish whiskey, and like a 7-year-old rum. So it's like really nice one, like coffee and rum, cold brewed together.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, so it's good, but it's like high in caffeine, so you can drink it a lot, and the craziness is crazy after drinking it. And we also did like some projects
for Irish market, alcohol and coffee.
Yeah, and also we did collaboration with Browar Spunt, which is a craft brewery in Poland. We started the project back in May last year, and they wanted to make a coffee stout, like coffee milk stout. We said, why just make a coffee milk stout like a regular way? So you just put the coffee beans into the chamber and you brew it with beer. Let's make it using hard tank. So we know that like this cold brew is tasting better. Why it's not oxidized? It's like just below 1 hour. It's not 24 hours. So taste-wise, it's tasting different than the regular cold brew from the market or from coffee shop, because like the oxygen level is lower. And we did the nitro cold brew stout with Brazil Samambaia yellow bourbon, so it's like also very transparent coffee with direct source from Fabrizio and Alan and Henrique, and that was like a regular stout, which is like fully drinkable coffee. Like it like was 5.6% of alcohol, and we knew that the second step will be the Russian Imperial Stout. So the Imperial Stout is the Imperial beans. I hope you got one.
No, I don't know yet. I heard that there will be some addition into the parcel. Yeah,
it's like the Imperial beans it's in the package, so you get one.
Wonderful.
Sneak peek, and that's Nitro Cold Brew Imperial Stout. It's 26 Plato and 9.5 ABV. So it's like quite, it's a good one. After 2, you are like very happy. And we did this with a more fruity coffee. So we made Bolivia Cosillo Natural Catura. We made a cold brew, put it into kegs, like repump it into kegs. We injected like 4 bars of nitrogen infused the kegs with 4 bars of nitrogen, and immediately we drove to the brewery. And the beer with coffee was mixed at the last stage. So before canning. We wanted just to like shorten the time of any possible oxidation of the coffee. So at the last step, when the Russian Imperial Stout was ready, we mixed this with nitro cold brew coffee, and that was like immediately canned.
Amazing, can't wait.
And now we are waiting for the third beer, which will be released in March, which will be a crazy one.
Man, I've got a birthday in March.
That's good. It will be a really small batch. So nitro beans was like 30 hectoliters, Imperial beans 10 hectoliters, and now we are planning to do 5 hectoliters, but that will be a crazy coffee. So I just can tell you the name. It will be rum barrel aged nitro cold brew Imperial Stout.
Oh Jesus, who's gonna remember that?
Yeah, it will be crazy. That's something which I'm looking for. It's still top secret, but we want to launch it in March while I'm still waiting for the coffee. So the coffee I want to use is like very unique one. It was like one of the best we had last year in 2020.
Finca de Bora.
No. From Brazil.
All right. let's just jump into one another project which we already mentioned, the green coffee environmental storage, which you took 2.5 years. And are you happy with the results?
Yeah, because there are the results are very clear. After the storage, we still will proceed this project from March till September, because I want to check more variables, and I want to do this from March till September. But the main goal was back in the days in 2018, we wrote a project, a grant, how to store in the best way the green coffee. When we were building this facility, or not building but restoring this facility where the roastery is now, there was no proper knowledge about green coffee storage. Some say it's 16 degrees Celsius, others say it's good, it will be around 20. Others say it's the best way is to freeze green coffee, and so on and so on. So we thought let's make a research. So let's build a facility with different cold rooms, storage chambers, where we can implement different conditions. We'll put the same coffee in all chambers, and let's measure it for 2 years. And that's how we started. We prepared a really fully controlled storage room with 5 different climate zones, and we bought one coffee directly from producer to have the transparency. We put it into this cold rooms and minus 10 degrees Celsius, plus 5, plus 10, plus 18, plus 20. And we pack it in small grain pro bags and small youth bags. And we were assessing the coffee both on the cupping tables with all almost all Polish Q graders involved. And we also started the collaboration with the Institute of Heavy Organic Synthesis and YARS laboratories to measure over 20 compounds in coffee. And that's why we finished the main project in December 2020. So 2 days ago, I received the last report. One report, it's 280 pages.
Oh my God.
So quite a lot of data. And now it's time to cover the data, assess it, consult it, and make some scientific articles. The good news is all the scientific articles will be in the open source.
So you can share your knowledge with all over the world, roastery and green crop storage.
The first scientific article, which will appear in Food Science and Technology magazine, it's now on this first step of a review at this magazine level. So I hope that it will be published within few weeks or maybe 2-3 months. Our goal is also to present all data at the World of Coffee in Athens. So we want to.
So for a moment,
our goal is just to be as much R&D as we can. So we want to go not only with hard tanks, not only with the new prototype, the B hard tank, but also we want to showcase our other researches like green coffee storage, cold brew, comparison, and also now we started to work on the waste coffee field.
All right.
So this week we started another collaboration. So we work with the University of Technology in Opole, we work with the Institute of Heavy Organic Synthesis, we work with YARS laboratories, we work with University of Opole. We started now with this chemical department of the University of Opole to get all this data from gas chromatography and water chromatography and so on about the coffee.
So let me just summarize quickly. You started as a barista in 2007, and now you are working with the heavy chemistry and research development and so on, so on. So the path where you start brewing your first coffee through all the competitions and organize the competitions brought you over here where you are now. And what's your future?
What's my future?
Yeah, you want to be a president of the coffee world?
No. I will be happy with continuing the whole research and development projects and share with the knowledge. That's my main goal. For me, like my cropster profiles are not secrets, so I really like to share because that's something we implement. Like it was implemented to me and also to Arthur and others from Coffeina, that back in the days when we were one of the few coffee shops, specialty coffee shops in Poland, it wasn't like kind of top secret stuff. We love to share the knowledge, so we helped many dozens of coffee shops in Poland, around Poland, to start with know-how, with specialty approach, with like barista trainings before the ASTs started, and that was something which was giving me a lot of joy. So sharing the knowledge and finding something, because for me the most important thing is like, if you have a knowledge, it needs to be confirmed by numbers or by science approach. So when back in the days when someone was telling us, you need to store your, I don't know, coffee at 16 degrees Celsius, but the question was, where's the numbers, or where's the research, or something like that? And yeah, because I don't know, Scott Rao said that, but like,
and Chris Baca.
Yeah, Chris is really nice one, but still, we needed this kind of scientific approval of such infos. So I think that for me the future is still in research and development, and of course expanding the direct trade with producers, while I'm still responsible for green coffee sourcing. And I really love this connection between producers. Of course, now it's super hard to travel around the farms, but good, we have such a technology like now Zoom or Meets or WhatsApp, which is now like hated by everyone, but still it's one of the sources we can connect with producers and share the knowledge. That's really nice. For example, I have this kind of experience back from Guatemala last year that, for example, producers we are working with are using Rist sample roaster. I'm also using Rist sample roaster, but they had like only 2 days, I don't know, training how to use it, and that's it. And they struggled a lot how to roast properly their samples, how to cup it properly, to assess the samples correctly. And that was a nice sharing. So I was there during the evenings and nights. We were programming the profiles, drawing different profiles, trying different roasting styles, and implementing the different approaches, learning them how to sample roast the coffee. And during the daytime, they were showing me how to process the coffee, how to harvest the coffee. And that was like a nice collaboration, that the producers sharing their knowledge about the coffee processing level and everything about harvesting. And I was like sharing my knowledge about roasting and sampling. So that was like really nice experience. So with other producers, he was showing us his farm and we were showing him how to cup coffee according to the SCA protocol. So that's something which is like making me happy, and I hope that that's the future. And also events, like I said like I didn't say the last words in events. Like I made like around 100 competitions now. but let's like make more. So like Comandante Cup or Pro Infusia, or maybe something new, a new formula after COVID. I don't know.
Well, you were my inspiration to start my Liberties Brewers Cup in 2017. 17, yeah. I did 17, 18, and 19.
Yeah, Libertine, yeah.
For black coffee competition, and we had on the last one 24 competitors, over 100 spectators, DJ, food,
That's a really nice number.
really nice, in a very small coffee shop. So I was pretty happy.
Yeah, but that's something which is like
Natural.
famous
Yeah,
for.
exactly.
So the
That's why I
Polish
said, like,
Barista League.
yeah, that was
Like
my inspiration.
Yeah, because when we do this, when I'm doing the signups for Pro Infusia, within 10 minutes I have like hundreds signups, some 100 barista or home barista who want to compete. Of course, you need to have like kind of atomic watch to be the first on Google Gmail, but because it's not so official, because it's not so like restricted with rules and regulations and how you need to behave, so many judges and so on. Not many barista compete at this national level, because if you compete on the national level, you need to have not only experience, but you need to have money to buy the coffee, to train and so on, because that's super expensive. And Pro Infusia from the beginning supposed to be entry-level competition, lower stress, less rules, more like fun way. So if you want to drink a beer before competing, it's not a problem. It's not forbidden to be drunk. You just
to be tipsy.
Yeah, to be tipsy. You just can't do mess. You cannot be messy around and just leave like, I don't know, spilled milk next to the machine or ground particles of coffee. And that was like the idea behind. Same with Comandante Cup, because like the idea behind Comandante Cup was started in Dublin.
All right.
During World of Coffee in Dublin,
2016.
2016, like together with Bernd Braune, so the inventor of Comandante, we thought like maybe that will be a nice marketing step for Comandante to start a competition. So I said like I have some experience in organizing, so I can help them to run this competition. So I wrote the like basic rules and regulation for a Comandante Cup. And so it happened that like in September it was for the first time in Germany in the barn Berlin, and then we did in Opole another one, so the Comandante Cup in Poland, and then it spread worldwide because I was also involved in Comandante Cup, first American Comandante Cup in New York in 2017. It was really nice competition in Brooklyn and in Norway at Nordic Approach and Team Vendelbo. So it was like really fun stuff to be one of the inventors, and now it's like living in their own life, its own life.
I can't wait to do it in Dublin, but I think Colin Harman keeping hands on Comandante and the trophy and.
No worries, we can like sneak something. No worries. First of all, the borders need to be open because like Natalia, you know Natalia well, she's working with us. She was working in Dublin and Coffee Angel. Yeah, and she's like trying to get to Dublin to visit friends and spend some time, drink some Guinness beers, and like it was like third time the flight was cancelled. Postponed or cancelled. And she's like still believing that she will manage to fly to Dublin in March. I don't know if it will be possible in March, but fingers crossed. And who knows? Like as soon as the borders will be open, there is still a space we can do something on a, I don't know, maybe kind of competition, or something else.
Wonderful. Few last questions. The Cup of Excellence Alliance. What's the story about?
Cup of Excellence is really nice organization, and I like that was also one of the goal to be a member, to be a part of Alliance of Coffee Excellence as a roastery, which is not common. For example, now as a roastery, we are the only roastery in Poland which is like a AC member. I don't know what's the cause why other roasteries are not entering, if it's just the financial part or it's something else. But for me, I like the initiative of this kind of competition coffees, but also it's supporting producers. And everything which is involving supporting producers for me was super important. And we started to be a member from 2021 because we are young or a new roastery. So we wanted to gain the experience about roasting and knowledge about roasting to start working with such projects like Cup of Excellence. Because if you start the auction, win a coffee, which is very unique, it's very important to not mess it at the machine while roasting. That's why we needed to gain the knowledge about roasting. Still, I do believe that you learn all the time roasting. It's not something you just like learn for 1 year or 2 years and you are a roast master. I do believe it's like lifetime achievement. But we are not so scared in terms of roasting expensive coffee. For example, like last year we were roasting like very expensive Panamas, and still we roast those Finca de Boras directly sourced from Jameson Savage. And it's not so stressful at the machine because when you are after like thousands of batches, you can predict how the beans will behave in the machine and what you want to achieve and how to implement the energy to achieve what you want. That's why we started to also be an ally and allied member of COE. Hopefully joining some auctions this year and get some coffees which are Cup of Excellence winners or top 10 of Cup of Excellence.
So then you can, as a barista, use your coffee for competition, signature Cup of Excellence.
Also, that's competition coffee. I had this privilege. I can say that's the good good name for that. Opportunity to roast some coffees for barista who competed. For example, I was roasting coffee for Mateusz Szuchnik for World Coffee and Good Spirits competition in Belo Horizonte. I was roasting the coffees for Maciek Duszak. He was runner-up in Barista and Brewers Cup last year. We could win because I was also his trainer, but we could win, but we made a really bad mistake in terms of technical mistake, not a coffee mistake. It was a technical mistake, but we know that now. So hopefully, future will be
the competition
first place.
is the good school for learning how to avoid mistakes. By look how the other people brew and how the judges.
Of course. And now, like today and last week and this week and last days, I'm roasting the coffee for Max, who will be competing 2 weeks in Coffee and Good Spirits and Jezva. But for that, I'm using Kurist, so the small sample roaster, because I can play around with the small batches with different approaches and different developments and energy levels. To fit the coffee into, for example, Jezva, so the Irish coffee. And he was like, we started the day today with Irish coffee, so connection with Ireland. Yeah, we started the day 8 a.m. to 10 past 8 in the morning, and we were drinking Irish coffee. So
good. Good prepare for a chat with it.
Yeah, good. It's Friday, so it's weekend.
Obviously. Okay, Chris. The last one, and I think most important for the customers. Let's talk about coffee, which we're gonna receive from you. I think let's start from Brazil, which is roast for espresso, which we're gonna get as espresso, guest espresso in the grinders. What the customers can expect from that samambaia? Did I pronounce good?
Yeah, Samambaia.
Samambaia.
So Brazil Samambaia is really nice farm. It's like one of the most innovative farm in Brazil nowadays. It's led by the farm manager is Fabrizio Andrade. You can also check Hardbean's Instagram, and in the like saved stories you have like whole harvest and quality control at Sun Coffee. They recorded for us last summer. I like their approach because they are very like research and scientific people. So Alan, Fabrizio, and Enrique, and they also have like a varietal garden. So they like shared one space of field where they harvested 96 different varietals. And they are like together with university and institutes, they are measuring this different varietals and how they can be implemented in the future in Brazil. So they are also geeky persons. And the coffee you will receive is a yellow bourbon. It's a pulped natural coffee just from one harvest. So it's like not from whole crop, which took place from May till September. It's like just from one specific period of time because they like take it in the parts, and then I had the opportunity while we are working together for 3 years now that I could choose not only the varietal, not only the processing, but also which lot I want to have it from the field, from the harvest. So it's really nice coffee, fully transparent, direct source. You can expect milk chocolate, hazelnuts, and if you play with your recipe and highlight the acidity, you will get like apple-like acidity. It's really good entry-level coffee. It's scored around 83, 84 points. So it's like a nice specialty entry-level coffee, which will be very classy, very smooth and creamy in the texture, but also you will get this kind of hints of appleness and hints of chocolate inside. So very classy way. We love it because that's a daily coffee.
Yeah.
You will not get bored from this coffee. If you just want a cup of Joe in the morning, if you don't want to be disappointed, Samambaia is the way.
So espresso or flat white?
With Samambaia, flat white.
Flat white.
Flat white is like with a fluffy texture.
Good. So
Flat
the
white.
same, I think the same coffee is shipped as a filter, or is that not?
That's the same coffee, different roast approach. So the roast approach is
highlight
more
acidity
for a filter. So we use smaller batch size. We implement more energy at the front, at the beginning, just to keep the acids inside. And then the development time is quite long, but it's like very low, so just to caramelize the sugars. So it should be also like a classy, more nougaty style. So you'll get you will not get this like chocolate. It will be more nuggets, and what's the name for that? Cashew.
Cashew nuts.
Cashew? Yeah, like this kind of delicate, mild nuts.
Milky nuts, nearly.
Yeah, cashew. And the apples also.
All right. So it would be nice to have espresso in the grinder and do the batch brew for filter and just compare both.
Yeah, of course. And also you can make a set. So you can make espresso, flat white, and batch brew from one coffee, from one farm. Roasted two separate weights, so that's not an omni roast.
So next one, Bolivia, El Fuerte.
Bolivia El Fuerte is like a nice experiment. It's like from the Rodriguez family. It's from Samaipata region. It's really high. It's above La Paz, so it's like a very high altitude, and that's the Java variety. So it's like very also rare variety, which is like coming from Ethiopia, and in this case, we wanted to go deeper into the harvest. So in the package, you will find 2 boxes, 125 grams each, where there are 2 separate lots. You have lot 25 and you have lot 27 of the same coffee.
What does it mean?
One coffee was harvested 2 weeks later. So you have like one farm, which is El Fuerte, one region, Samaipata, one producer, Los Rodriguez family, one processing method, it's washed coffee, but the harvest is from 2 different weeks.
So will be more developed in the term of ripeness?
Yeah, and you will find it in the cup.
All right, perfect. That's interesting. That's something to experiment at home.
Yeah, it's more like you put a cupping on the table. But if you don't want to experiment with the coffee and you don't want to open both bags, just like you can open both and mix it together, and it will also work because like regularly these slots are mixed together.
All right.
And when you buy this coffee, you just buy El Fuerte Java washed. But we wanted to make this kind of educational set that you have very transparent coffee, but 2 different lots, and that's like 14 days or 15 days in between of these slots.
In terms of flavors and aromas?
It's really delicate coffee. So it will be mild, it will be floral, hints of not so sharp like citric, but more like pure acidity and pure sweetness. So it will be like floral, pears, very delicate. It's good to use lower temperature water, like 90, 91 for the coffee.
El Salvador is next. Gilberto. My printer doesn't work pretty well.
Barahona. Gilberto Barahona was unfortunately one of the most innovative producers in the world and one of the most respected producers in the world. And he was like the processing guru. And we had coffee from him last year. It was bourbon. And I always dream about the Pacamara from Gilberto Barahona. That was like have this coffee was like very important to me because I really love this coffee.
Holy Grail.
I really love the approach at Los Pirineos and Las Palmas. And we were also in touch with Gilberto. So we started this like relationship last year when we had this Los Pirineos washed bourbon coffee. And when I found that the coffees are available, so the Pacamaras are available, I just like said like we need to have it, and we managed to do that. And also there were plans for really nice educational footage for our customers with Gilberto, but unfortunately he passed away because of COVID last June last year. So it was like very, very depressing message from El Salvador, that like very strong guy, very, very powerful producer and very innovative. It was like the innovation in coffee processing was in his head. He unfortunately passed away, and
so also this coffee is like his heritage.
Important now just to tribute him and to like be careful with these coffees and share these coffees with everyone. But while we roasting it, it's like very like special moment for us because that's the last coffees from his hand. Of course, his children now took the lead on the farm, and they are also like they were working on this farm, so they know everything how to process as well. So I'm not concerned that something will go wrong with Los Pirineos or Las Palmas or other farms from Tecapa, but still that's something very valuable. And the coffee got there, it's also a unique one because that's Pacamara, but this coffee was processed washed yeast. So that's washed yeast fermentation. So while the coffee beans were fermenting in the tanks, yeasts were added into the fermentation. And they were like speeding up the fermentation and changing the cup profile. So we'll find a very clean, super clean Pacamara coffee without these Pacamara flavors. You can know from different Pacamaras. With bright floral citric aromas. It's look like it's tasting really nice on an immersion brew when you use
so
AeroPress.
clever AeroPress, French press.
More AeroPress, more like, because in AeroPress you can force the pressure and you can overdose it. So it's really nice. Like Max, so still the current AeroPress champion in Poland, was doing his like bypass methodology, and it was like working really well with El Salvador. So it's like very delicate coffee, and also it's like special and like close to us, to the heart, because of Gilberto. That's why we choose red color.
All right, of the packaging.
Of the packaging for this coffee, and there will be more. So that's like. There are 2 more coffees from Las Palmas and Los Pirineos we will roast to our customers. So it's like orange Pacamara. It's like natural mutation of Pacamara, which was found at Gilberto Farm, and also natural anaerobic Pacamara from Gilberto.
So then we've got 2 Honduras coffees. One is Finca San Isidro, Katia Duke, or Bataret Honey, and the second.
Washed Pacamara.
Washed Pacamara.
Yeah.
All right. What about them?
Well, that's a really nice story behind. You can find Insta TV footage on our Instagram with Katia. So the story with Katia Duque started also in 2019. We met together in Guatemala during the Producer Roster Forum, and she was also joining the Producer Roster Forum, but Katia came there with her coffees, and she showed us her Catuai yellow honey, lactic process. That was like a mind-blowing coffee. It was like coffee which was like outstanding on the table. It was like beating all the geishas from Costa Rica and Guatemala. And that was like first coffee she introduced to the world. And we were like, I said like, I need this coffee, but unfortunately there was no more shipping from Honduras to Europe. So it wasn't possible, but we met with Katia. We kept the relationship, and we are still chatting with each other. She's like very innovative because she studied agronomy, and she also joined this kind of SCA courses about specialty. So back in the days, 8 years ago, Katia was working with her dad on a farm. Her dad was the owner of the plantation, and she said that she wanted to make something better, not just like the commodity coffee her dad was doing, but she wanted to make it better and special way. And her dad lent her like part of the farm. And she started to experiment there and to process the coffee her way. Different variables and so on, and that's the first time her coffee is in Europe. So both Obata and Pacamara and the slot is the first time her coffee were transported to Europe. 1 year ago, her coffee was available in the States. So that's something new on the market, but also from a very geeky, kind, and innovative person, which is Katia Duque. And it's really great to have her coffees in Europe, which are very affordable, but very also interesting. So washed Pacamara is like more like kind of green notes, like this kind of bananas and nuts, and Obata, it's more like ripe fruits, dried fruits, sweeter and more dense.
Red honey process,
yeah, because of honey process. I was expecting the lactic process, but unfortunately in 2020, Katia didn't do the lactic process, but she said that she will do a lactic this year, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it will be successful, and in the middle of 2021 we'll get some coffees from Katia Duque with lactic process.
So
that's also a direct source coffee.
Yeah.
All coffees you have are from the producers we know, or from people who are working with these producers directly. For example, in terms of Bolivia, both El Fuerte and Cusillo, that's the producer with whom Jola Sherminska from 88 Grains from Guatemala now. She was working there. She was establishing the wet mill and QC lab.
Lastly, I left the coffee which I loved most, or the African coffees. So Ethiopia, Daye Benza.
Yeah.
I love Ethiopians. I love Kenyans. The Kenyans recently were not that special as a few years ago, as I remember. But Ethiopia is still keeping strong. So what about those coffee?
That's a crazy coffee. Hope it will be so impressive like it was 2 months ago. But we sourced that coffee from Belco, and that's also from a well-known farm in Ethiopia. And the most important thing, that's black honey process. And it's like it gives you this kind of floral note at the beginning, like this kind of classical tea-like floral notes of Ethiopia, but then you have like this kind of kick of fruits which come from the black honey process. That's really complex cup. So this processing like just increase the complexity, the flavor layers of the cup. So it's really impressive coffee. And when we just received like sample of that, I just like called Nico, do you have spare bags? And he said, yeah, I have like 2 bags or 3 bags left. I said, like, send it straight away, like to us, because we wanted to have it like a really nice Christmas coffee as a gift, because it's like really complex, fruity, clean, tea-like, but also very fruity. So I do believe it will be. You will like the coffee.
Jesus,
it's not direct source. It's like that's my goal to find a direct source coffee from Africa. And I'm close with such coffees from Kenya, because this year all Kenyas we had were from single farms, not from cooperatives or not from like region or wet mills. It was direct sourced, not by us, but by our importer from single origin farms. So, for example, we had a coffee which was Bari estate, and that's like only 3 hectares farm. And the total harvest of AA was 60 kilo. And we had 30 kilo of those coffee and 30 kilo was left in France. And the total harvest of AB was 120 kilo, and we had whole of 120 kilo. So 1 coffee from 1 producer and whole crop.
And 1 roaster.
1 roaster. 2 roasters. 1 roasting machine.
Jesus. Can't wait. And also I can't wait for your another visit in Dublin.
Yeah, I need to prepare my...
hopefully the restriction will be lifted. And
I need to prepare my body for that and my health for Dublin.
We can manage, no worries.
You go left, and there is a pub. always when you're somewhere in Dublin, you go left and the left, and there is a pub. So that's the first thing I remember back
Keep the left.
2016. Like the Dubliners pub, and what was there? Kimchi restaurant. That was like the daily spot. So we were eating at Kimchi and drinking at the Dubliners.
That's good. That's good. Got a nice feedbacks from somebody who got such a big knowledge in coffee.
Yeah.
Krzysz, thank you very much for your time.
No worries.
We're
Thank
planning
you.
for like 1 hour, and I think we are far away.
Yeah, it was like 1 hour or something.
Yeah, so
Not bad.
thank you.
Hopefully, someone will listen to it.
Come on. It's just it's like a Bible. Oh, hold on, library.
Library. Yeah.
Loads of knowledge. I think that's knowledge we can find in the coffees which are shipped to Dublin, and fingers crossed that we can receive them very quickly, so we can put on.
Hopefully, like I do believe it was like sent at the beginning of the week, so maybe even today.
I don't think so. The Brexit makes.
Brexit. I forgot about the Brexit.
Yeah, big difference.
Because of the Brits.
Yeah, let's do not talk about them.
Let's
concentrate about good stuff.
Yeah, the governmental stuff is really bad. Like same in Poland, you know that it's like kind of governmental situation in Poland is, I don't know.
No point.
How to find a good word for that, because I just have this.
It's complicated.
Yeah, it's complicated. Yeah, it's complicated. Like a relationship.
Relationship is complicated. Status on Facebook.
Yeah, that's true. That's something what we have with our government.
Yeah, Chris, thank you very much for your time once again.
Thank you too.
Enjoy your all developments, all research, and fingers crossed for Dubai launched project.
Thank you.
And we give you feedback straight away when the coffee gonna arrive, and we're gonna
do
camping. Say hi to Kasia and Artur,
I will do that.
whole team.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye. Cheers.